At the age of 13, I picked up my dad's film camera. And then in 2005, I managed to save and buy a 5.1 megapixel digital camera. I had little money, just a passion, a creative mind, and a dream. Then things started to change. This video is something I should have recorded a long time ago, yeah, because over the years, people have been asking me all these questions. How long have you been doing photography? What's my journey been like? Can I give some tips and advice to not only people starting out, but tips and advice to people that are starting out in modeling and everything. So yeah, I'm going to do separate videos. So please subscribe to the channel. This one is going to tell you about me and my journey and how I started and everything. I've worked with hundreds of people, hundreds of projects, all the way back from 2005. There's not a lot that I haven't done. I've taught photography in after school groups and everything. Yeah. So, okay. Age of 13 years of age, always used to take my dad's camera, his film camera, click, click, click. My mum said you was always out there taking pictures, blah. Yeah, that was me. And basically using up all my dad's rolls of film. And then I remember the school photographers that used to come along and take all the school photos. I drove my mum mad. Mum, look at all their equipment. My mum made friends with them and said, can my son come down to your little studio? Because he drives me mad about photography. And it's like, yeah, they could see the passion. So I ended up sort of like helping them in their darkroom, developing up all the photos and everything, the enlarger, the little safe light, the orange light, done all that, helped out in the local camera shop. So done all that. By the time I was sort of like 15, 16, my mum had got me my own enlarger, so I took over her kitchen, developing all the photos and everything. So, yeah, fast forward, left school. Passion for photography always there. So I got my own little photography film camera then. And then I carried on. I got a little job. I was happy with my little job, but, you know, I always knew that the passion for photography was always there. So, yeah, so I always took photos of friends of mine that do modeling and acting and stuff on film. So the good thing with film, I always say that it does make you more inclined to get the shot right in the first place. So everyone that I'd done little shots for on my film, they didn't really have many wasted shots because of the fact that you don't want to waste money on film. So you end up getting the shot right in the first place. And I work the same to this day, even with digital. If the shot don't look right to me, I don't really take it. So yeah, until it does look right, get the lighting right and everything. So yeah, so carried on doing that, and then 2005 is where it all changed for me, because in 2004, the year before, I bought a computer at home. We had dial-up internet, so I was learning a bit about the computer. Social networks were starting to come out there. People were getting profiles on, I think, Bebo and MySpace.com. So yeah, so I created one on MySpace. There was high-speed broadband, but I couldn't afford it. I couldn't even, I see all these digital cameras coming out in the shops, DSLRs. I couldn't afford one either. So I just about managed to save up and get this little Sony digital camera that I've still got here today. So I started like taking more pictures of my friends using this, and then I was using a program on a slow computer called Nero, Nero, which I think is still around to this day. Like they've got all different versions like Photoshop and all that. Fantastic little program at the time. And then I was adjusting anything on there. And then I bought these little work lamps out of the builder's merchants because I couldn't afford sort of like professional lighting. So I basically created this little home studio as well, put a black sheet on the wall, used my white painted wall, and started to create stuff, getting it online on this MySpace, taking forever to upload with a dial-up internet. However, I had a photography profile with some nice images, and I was trying to think of some names for the photography and then called it Elite Photography. Then I thought I'd make it more personal of Jeff and You, Jay. So I mixed it up to be J Elite Photography which seemed to work really well. And then about a year later, started to get interest from people that done music, models, because more and more people were creating profiles. The good thing for me is there wasn't a lot of photographers that had profiles on there then. Some of these music artists, I was like, wow, they had jobs on radio stations that were quite big radio stations, yeah, and they're like well-known artists, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're getting in touch with me. But I've always been one of them people, and I still do this today, dropping a comment on their pages, maybe sending them a little message and saying, you know, I'm a photographer and everything. So yeah. And then what happened was that YouTube was just starting up as well. I think sort of like 2006 time. So yeah, so I was taking pictures and then I started to get paid a bit of money and I thought, wow, that was nice. I was able to save up and get like a little DSLR, little APS-C. Nowadays I use full frame and all that. So, but yeah, that's because time has evolved on for me. But yeah, so done all that. And then I couldn't believe it. Is it just the word of mouth and recommendations? Just brought in a lot of modeling agencies that were starting up. And this is the thing that I always say to people today is if you network and show your clients that you're hands-on, this is where things can progress and spiral up for you because people can make it to this day, yeah. I took a little Photoshop course 2008 because there wasn't tons of tutorials online, but I see my local college had Adobe Photoshop. I think it was like CS2, CS3. So I started doing this course, little evening thing, and like I was able to manipulate the images with layers and everything. Yeah, create people's CD covers. So yeah, and boy, before I knew it, I was able to pack up my own job, yeah. And as much as I loved my job, my passion was always in photography. And for years, I carried on paying the bills. I think 2010, I then had some music artists that run like youth groups. They got funding from the local council to run some after school groups and workshops. And they wanted people to teach DSLRs and some media stuff. So I got funding, so I found myself teaching other people about the industry and just those that are passionate, basically. Yes, I got paid for all that. And then I think what was happening is Facebook and all that came along. And then you had obviously like Instagram was to follow. And more photographers started to get profiles. A lot of modeling agencies started to do stuff in-house. But the good thing is throughout my years of experience is the fact that because I've made so many contacts out there, my work still carried on. And I still say this to people today because a lot of people say to me, oh, don't you find it more difficult? Like, I'm like, listen, anyone that's starting up today, you can still make it in photography 100%, yeah, because it's about your passion, your creativity, and it's how you network out there and put yourself out there, basically, you know, because people say it's for loads of things, like even models say to me, you know, I'm just trying to get out there. Other photographers and music artists, like, you know, what do you reckon? I'm like, well, put yourself out there because that's what it's all about. I networked and, you know, contacted people, sent them messages and everything. Do you like my work? If you need any shoots and stuff. So yeah, so that was my journey then. And then 2012, I started to create some videos for people as well, because people not only want photos, but like brands and everything for their startup clothing line. I started to create videos. I opened up my little own channel, started putting videos on there of some of the models, also done music and poetry. So I started to film that. I had music artists say to me, wow, like, because you're a photographer, you know all about lighting. So I started creating some little videos. The channel name was Elite Visions UK, and you can check out all of the videos on there. I did move away from that and opened up a fresh one called Faces Out, which I still use today to put music videos, freestyles, and other talents online. So yeah, check that out. Me as a photographer, I'm a people person, in my photography. So it doesn't mean that I can't shoot products, and I have done products like creams, you name it, so I can shoot anything, because as long as I got my camera, I can shoot anything. So I can manipulate lighting, I can do everything, if I can make like a whole series of products look good. But ideally, I like to put a person in there, probably holding the face cream and all that, because I'm a portrait people photographer. I do like shooting other things. People ask me, do you have a niche? Not really. I'm going to have a separate video about this. Should you have a niche? And obviously, that's going to talk about you in terms of marketing. Obviously, I've always marketed myself as a portrait person, and people can see that my work involves people, music, modeling, fashion, entertainment. I do a lot of weddings, started doing weddings 2013. Basically, I did have other photographers that said to me at the time, oh, you ever shot a wedding before? That's a bit different to doing, like, your modeling shoots, isn't it? Like, it must be a bit nervy and stuff. And I'm like, no, because at the end of the day is that I can go to that wedding and take charge, even though I've never done it before. Take charge just the same as I would do if I've got a whole group of, say, 50 models at a fashion shoot. I can say, look, you over there, this look great. So I can gather everyone at a wedding and do the same thing. So so that is basically it. That is me today. I also love doing some street photography. So this is where I'm going to say to other people that are wanting to start out in photography now, I will create these other videos. But if you're already doing photography and you like doing things like street photography, get out and network with other people, because that's my only advice that I can say to you, is to just network with other people, because I always do. It doesn't matter how many years experience that I have in photography. I've always been hands-on, This is my life, This is my passion, to be a creative. I have other photographers that say to me, oh, I would never be a second shooter at somebody's wedding, because I'm way past that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll be a second shooter in another 20 years' time, that another photographer has booked and that's their clients and they need a second shooter. Because it's money for me, but I also doing my passion. I'm already out there shooting. So if you are starting out in photography, or you're an established photographer and you need a second shooter for whatever, give me a shout. I'll be there. If I'm not busy on that day, I'll let you know I'll be there. Street photography, anything. If you're a startup clothing brand, your established clothing brand, your models, anything, give me a shout. Because I'm a creative and I'll work with you, discuss your vision. We will take your whole vision and style it up from the ground up. I'm also a shoot stylist, so I'll work with you in getting the right clothes together, the right mood, the lighting, everything. So drop me a comment down below. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on this channel. Please subscribe. Please share out this video. Let me know about your work, what you're doing. Let's have a conversation. Reach out to me and I'll reply back. But if there's anything else you want to know, just shout me. And guys, chat to you soon. All right, all the best.